Hey YouTube, Chris with CB Model Works. Welcome back to the garage. So we're finally going to finish this 442 today. It's taken me a while, but we finally got there. Starting off with the tire decals. I thought they were going to be hard, but they laid right on. No issues with them at all. Every one of them, both sides, just laid right down. Moved around fine. That's the decals I was worried about, but nothing to worry about there. So now painting the wheels. Got some Tamiya acrylic X7 red. I'm not worried about being too careful here. Trying not to be too sloppy, but I'm not too worried about staying in the lines, because we're going to go by and clean it up afterwards. I did need to do a couple coats on this one. If anybody's ever tried to paint over kit chrome, you know it takes 2-3 coats sometimes. So it did need some touch-ups here and there. So I let it sit for about 20 minutes. I've just got a little toothpick. I'm dipping it in some Tamiya X20 acrylic thinner and just going over and scraping off the paint where I don't want it. It probably took me about 30 minutes to get all of these wheels done, but it was well worth the effort. I think they came out looking great in the end. Alright, now we're finishing up the grill. Gonna paint it with some Vallejo Model Color Black. This should dry a nice matte black looking. And then afterwards I went around and I believe it was dark ghost gray. I did the edges of it, because I believe they are supposed to be gray. So now's where things started going wrong. The actual spraying was fine. There's nothing wrong with the paint that I'm using, which is Mr. Hobby Super Chrome Silver 2. It looks good, but you see how much masking tape I have on this car. I still managed to get bleed through and overspray, and I don't know why, but it left all kinds of masking tape residue all over the entire car. I'm thinking maybe it's because I taped this off and it was in a hot car and in a hot garage. Maybe that did something with the tape, because it wasn't right before I painted, it was earlier in the day. So maybe that's where I went wrong. It's kind of what I'm thinking, but I'll show you what happened in just a second. I nearly ruined this, one of my best paint jobs. Alright, so I got a little comparison here. This is the last car I did bare metal foil on, the old AMT 70 Revell. So just for comparison, bare metal foil versus the Super Chrome Silver 2 paint, the bare metal definitely looks better. Looks more the part, it's got more of a shininess to it. The paint works, but yeah, I think I need to get a different batch of bare metal foil, because I had issues with this stuff sticking. Which you'll see that later too. I used it for something else. So I think I just need to get a new batch and go back to using it instead. Would have saved me a whole lot of trouble too. That's a good view for you. Hopefully it's coming through good on the camera. That bare metal foil definitely looks the part. The paint is smoother, but that's just because of my skills with the bare metal. So as I unmasked this thing, I went into full freak out mode. Lots of bad words were said. Just a whole lot of freaking out. You can see an ugly spot right there where there was some bleed through with the silver paint. I tried everything on this. More bleed through up there. I tried sanding. I tried polishing again. I polished it with my Dremel tool 4 times to get it to where it is now. And there's still just a little bit of tape residue left. I don't know what it did to this paint. You can see it on the C-pillar there. Right along there. And then the trunk is really bad. No matter what I did, I could not get it out. And I was not about to strip this thing and start over. Luckily, the shelf that I keep my models on, it's not in bright light like my bench is out here, so you don't really notice the imperfections very well. So after all the freaking out, we get back to final assembly. These taillights, they might as well have been a snap kit, because they just popped right in. You heard it like a click when they went in. They almost didn't need glue. But apparently one side is shorter, and I didn't realize that. And I dropped it a few times trying to figure it out. And then rear glass, same thing. Right there, just clicked right in. Almost didn't need glue. Front glass didn't click in, but it just fit perfectly in the grooves that they have for it. This whole kit was just one of the best fitting and most detailed Revell kits I've ever seen. Took me just a second to get the interior lined up because I was catching it on something in the front end. And then same thing with the chassis. I tried to put the back first, and that didn't work. You have to do the front first because you have to get the fan inside the shroud before you can get the back of it in. Took a little finagling to get the front all the way sitting flush, but that was because I had the radiator in the wrong spot. It was just maybe 2 millimeters off, so it was stopping everything from going up all the way. Alright, air cleaner here. There's a little tab on there that just lines you up perfectly. Done and done. Now we got our AC hose. This was a nice touch that they added this in here. I haven't seen many kits that come with the AC hose. Again, went right in, no problems. And then our upper radiator hose just fits in there perfectly. There's our air cleaner, and now I'm getting excited because it's just about done. Little super glue for the front bumper. I don't trust the Mod Podge on the chrome parts. I don't think it holds well enough for those, so super glue it is. And I'm not using anything fancy, it's just Loctite super glue. Now the nerve-wracking part, putting the door handles and the mirrors on. This I did use the Mod Podge for. It's been sitting out getting tacky. This side I got lucky and got it in place first shot. The other side not so much, it moved around a little bit on me, but luckily with the Mod Podge it cleaned off real easy. The mirror I just kind of dunked it in the glue, held it on there for a few seconds. This is probably my third attempt to get that mirror on. Kept wanting to fall on me. Now this is a little trick I learned from, I want to say it was June over at June's Mini Garage does this. You cut the license plate out instead of using that as a decal. Then use silver Sharpie to go around the edge so it looks like it's actually a piece of metal. I think this is an off-brand marker, not technically a Sharpie, but has the same effect. And then use a little bit of PVA to just glue it on, and make sure you drop it a couple times on your bench though. Gives it that added effect of being a dirty license plate. Now this is another little trick I learned from somebody else I hear on YouTube. I can't remember who it was though. It's that same bare metal foil that doesn't want to stick. Put it on the back of the tail lights and it gives it a reflective surface. So for like this one that's not going to get any light, you can see the difference in the tail lights there. Alright, last piece going on. And there she is, all done. And I did find a couple little glue spots on the window, so I covered them up with those little decals. Not sure what those decals are for, but you can also see the bare metal foil came off that one side on the tail light. Yay for bad batches of expensive bare metal foil. But overall, I'm really happy with this build. I think this is one of the best looking builds I've ever done. One of the best kits I've ever done. And turning off the bright light, this is about what it's like on my display shelf. So as I turn it around, you can't even really see the flaws in it. All the little ugly spots from the paint bleed through. I'm just really excited about this one. There's that ugly tail light again. Luckily I don't see the back. And luckily this is not for a competition. So I'm gonna take a quick look at the engine here. I really do like that they added that AC line in there. It adds so much more realism to the model. Well, there we have it. Finally done with my under 1000 group build, Oldsmobile 442. Appreciate everybody watching and keeping up with me. I did forget to do two things on this model. I'm curious if anybody noticed, so let me know if you think you saw what I forgot to do. So I'm going to leave you guys with some pictures of the finished model. And thank you, Mike, and thank you, Rob, for putting on this group build for us. Please feel free to like, subscribe, leave me some comments, and we'll catch you in the next video.